New kid on the block. Sweat plastered Mike's t-shirt to his back. The rusty pipe refused to cooperate. He wrenched at it with a pipe wrench, the metal screaming in protest, then finally gave way with a spurt of muddy water that splattered his jeans. "Damn it," he yelled, throwing the useless wrench into the overgrown flower bed. He scrubbed his face with the back of his hand, leaving a streak of grime across his forehead. This fixer-upper was turning out to be more of a breaker-downer. That's when he saw her. Next door, a girl was watering flowers. Sunlight caught the spray, creating a miniature rainbow around her. She had long, dark hair that cascaded down her back, a floral sundress that flattered her figure, and the kind of smile that could melt asphalt. She looked like she belonged in a magazine, not a suburban garden. He straightened up, trying to smooth down his messy hair and wipe the mud off his hands as inconspicuously as possible. He must have made a noise because she looked up, her eyes widening slightly as she took in his disheveled appearance. "Hi," he managed to croak, his voice rough from shouting at the pipe. I'm Mike. I just moved in." She turned off the hose, the sudden silence amplifying the chirping of crickets in the afternoon heat. "Chloe," she said, her voice like honey. "Welcome to the neighborhood." He wanted to say something witty, something charming, something that wouldn't make him sound like a complete idiot. Instead, he just stammered, "So, you, like flowers?" He immediately wanted to kick himself. What a stupid thing to say. A small smile played on her lips. "They're my mom's," she said, gesturing to the well-tended garden. "I just help out." "Right," he said, feeling his face flush. "Well, I should probably, go back to wrestling with this pipe thing." He gestured vaguely towards the gaping hole in his front yard. "Good luck with that," she said, her eyes sparkling with amusement. "Maybe I'll see you around." He nodded, unable to form a coherent sentence. As he turned back to the leaky pipe, he could feel her gaze. Caught in the act. Mike told himself he was checking the structural integrity of the porch railing, but the truth vibrated in the air between him and the window. Chloe, bathed in the golden afternoon light, was sketching in her notebook, a stray strand of auburn hair dancing across her cheek. He lingered a beat too long, the lines of her jean shorts hugging her curves a silent siren call. "Admiring the view, Mike?" He jolted, nearly wrenching the damaged railing clean off. Sarah leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed, a mischievous glint in her eyes. "I have way more assets than her," she joked, her tone light but laced with a playful challenge. His face flushed crimson. "Just, making sure everything's up to code, Mrs. Davis," he stammered, cursing his clumsy explanation. Sarah chuckled, the sound surprisingly warm. "Up to code, huh? I didn't realize plumbing inspections involved staring quite so intently." She pushed off the doorframe, stepping closer. "Though I suppose Chloe is a rather captivating subject. Even I have to admit that." He risked a glance at her, catching a hint of something in her expression. "She's talented," he mumbled, gesturing vaguely towards Chloe. Sarah laughed, a genuine, throaty sound that eased some of the tension coiling in his gut. "Talented. That's one word for it." "So, Mike," she said, her voice dropping a notch, "what kind of assets do you find particularly intriguing?" He swallowed hard, the heat in his cheeks intensifying. This was dangerous territory. And yet, he couldn't seem to look away. Plumbing problems and lingering conversations. The drip, drip, drip was driving Sarah mad. She'd meant to call a plumber for weeks, but life, as it often did, got in the way. So when Mike, bless his helpful heart, offered to take a look, she practically shoved him into the bathroom. "It's probably just a washer," he said, his young face serious as he peered under the sink. The air filled with the metallic scent of damp pipes and Sarah found herself unnecessarily close, watching his strong hands work. He tightened a bolt, the dripping slowed, then stopped. There, all fixed. You're a lifesaver, Mike. Seriously. I was about to lose my mind. She leaned against the doorframe, the cool porcelain against her back. So, plumbing, is that what you always wanted to do? He shrugged, a slight blush creeping up his neck. It's honest work. My dad started the business. I want to expand it, maybe get a small fleet of vans, hire some guys. She smiled. Ambitious. I like that. Sarah hesitated, then plunged in. After the divorce, well, I needed something of my own. I'm a graphic designer, freelance. I mostly do websites and logos. It's flexible. He turned, wrench in hand, and his eyes held a genuine interest. Divorce is rough. Rough is putting it mildly. But it led me here, to this house, this neighborhood, and meeting you. She hadn't meant to say that last part, but the words were out, hanging in the air like the scent of pipe dope. The bathroom felt suddenly small, the silence thick with unspoken possibilities and the faint echo of a drip, 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 that wasn't there anymore. He swallowed hard. The tables turn. The rich scent of brewing coffee drifted from the open window, an irresistible invitation Mike couldn't ignore. He paused on Chloe's porch, a familiar mug cradled in his hands, already radiating warmth. I really appreciate you tackling that faucet so promptly, she murmured, her voice a soft current that seemed to resonate within him. Come on in. Stepping inside was like entering a different world. Chloe's living room was a vibrant tapestry of hues, a far cry from Sarah's sleek, uncluttered space. Sunlight poured through the stained glass, casting kaleidoscopic patterns across the walls. So, Chloe continued, gently agitating the dark brew in her cup, Sarah mentioned you're quite the handyman. Always lending a hand, always fixing things. A blush crept up Mike's neck. Hearing such words from Chloe stirred something within him that Sarah's praise never had. Where Sarah's encouragement felt like supportive camaraderie, Chloe's electrified him. Just part of the job, he mumbled, avoiding her gaze. Humility doesn't suit you, she teased, stepping closer. A tendril of fiery hair brushed against her cheek. A skilled and charming plumber is a rare breed these days. Her eyes held his. Discomfort settled in his gut. The coffee suddenly tasted sharp. He pictured Sarah, her quick wit and the lines that formed around her eyes when she laughed. Then Chloe's confident smile flashed through his mind, bringing with it the familiar flutter in his chest. A knot tightened within him. He hadn't anticipated these complications. Could he truly be drawn to two such different women, in such profoundly different ways? He had to get a handle on this emotional spill, before it turned into a deluge. Unexpected bonds. The scent of Sarah's jasmine soap still clung to the air when Mike returned the casserole dish. Thanks again, he said, self-consciously rubbing the back of his neck. Seriously, that was amazing. Anytime, Sarah replied, a playful glint in her eyes. So, I noticed your Mike's plumbing van. The logo could use some help. Mike chuckled. Tell me about it. My uncle drew it. He thinks a cartoon wrench with bulging biceps is peak design. I might have a few ideas, Sarah said, gesturing towards her laptop on the kitchen table. I dabble in graphic design. We could watch a movie while we brainstorm. I've got Casablanca queued up. An hour later, surrounded by sketches and half-empty coffee cups, they were deep in discussion, not about plumbing logos, but about the enduring power of classic cinema. Mike, it turned out, had a surprising passion for Humphrey Bogart, quoting lines with unexpected flair. Sarah found herself captivated by his enthusiasm, the way his eyes lit up when discussing a particularly poignant scene. Later, as the movie ended, a comfortable silence settled between them. So, Mike began, a hint of nervousness in his voice, what do you really want out of life, Sarah? She looked out the window, the streetlights casting long shadows across the lawn. Security, I guess. For Lily. And maybe, someone to share it with. Someone who sees me, not just the soccer mom version. She turned back to him, a faint smile playing on her lips. What about you, Mike? Besides plumbing empires? He hesitated, then confessed, to build something that lasts. Something I can be proud of. And maybe, to not be so afraid of taking chances. The words hung in the air, thick with unspoken possibilities. The cartoon wrench, forgotten, lay discarded among the sketches, a block party blues. Folding chairs popped open with metallic sighs as the Miller family staked their claim on a patch of asphalt. Sarah wrestled with a tablecloth depicting sunflowers, its cheeriness clashing with the knot forming in her stomach. Mike was due to arrive any minute, volunteering to help set up their lemonade stand. Smile, sweetie, her mom chirped, adjusting the brim of her sun hat. It's a party. Sarah managed a weak grin as Mike's truck rumbled to a halt nearby. He hopped out, a six-pack of bottled water in hand, his easy smile aimed directly at Chloe, who materialized as if summoned. Mikey. Perfect timing, Chloe purred, intercepting him before he reached the lemonade stand. She draped an arm around his neck, her fingers toying with the hair at his nape. Sarah felt her own smile evaporate. Hey, Chloe, Mike said, his voice a little strained as he subtly unwound her arm. Just brought some water. You're such a lifesaver, Chloe cooed, batting her eyelashes. It's sweltering, isn't it? She fanned herself dramatically, the movement drawing attention to the curve of her breasts beneath her sundress. Sarah busied herself arranging lemons, her movements jerky and deliberate. From the corner of her eye, she saw Mike glance her way, a flicker of something unreadable in his expression. He seemed caught, a deer in the headlights, unsure whether to stay or flee. The sugary scent of lemonade suddenly felt cloying, thick in the humid air. Water balloon revelation. The block party was in full swing when Chloe, Sarah's younger sister, shrieked, launching a water balloon that exploded harmlessly at Mike's feet. He grinned, scooped up a stray balloon from a nearby bucket, and retaliated, catching Chloe square in the chest. The fight was on. Soon, everyone was involved. Mike found himself dodging a barrage of aqua-filled projectiles. He saw Sarah laughing, her dark hair plastered to her face, as she ducked behind a picnic table. Need backup? He yelled, grabbing another balloon. Desperately, she replied, her eyes sparkling. Together, they formed an alliance against Chloe and a couple of other neighbors. Mike lobbed a balloon over the table, scoring a direct hit on a particularly vocal opponent. Sarah, meanwhile, was a master of misdirection, faking throws and lulling victims into a false sense of security. At one point, scrambling for cover, Mike's hand brushed against Sarah's as they both reached for the same balloon. A jolt, electric and undeniable, shot up his arm. Time seemed to slow. Her eyes met his, and the laughter faded, replaced by a quiet intensity. He lingered there for a beat, maybe two, before pulling his hand away, balloon in tow. The moment hung in the air, heavier than the water-filled missiles flying around them. He tossed the balloon, hitting his target, but his focus was now entirely on Sarah. Confessions on the porch. The porch swing creaked a gentle rhythm as Mike and Sarah sat in comfortable silence. Fireflies blinked in the twilight, their tiny lights mirroring the nervous flutter in Mike's stomach. He cleared his throat. So, thanks for helping me with that leaky faucet today. I owe you one. Sarah laughed, a warm, melodic sound. You don't owe me anything, Mike. I enjoy your company. She paused, the swing slowing. More than I probably should. Mike's heart leaped. What do you mean? Sarah sighed, the sound laced with a hint of sadness. You're young, Mike. And I'm. Amazing, he blurted out, then instantly regretted the impulsive confession. He watched her face, searching for a reaction. Sarah smiled, a soft, knowing smile. Amazing and bolder. Old enough to be your mother. But you're not my mother, Mike countered, emboldened. And age, it doesn't matter to me. I like you, Sarah. A lot. The words hung in the humid air, heavy with unspoken feelings. From the shadows of the living room window, Chloe's breath hitched. She gripped the curtain, her knuckles white. The casual conversation she had been half listening to had taken a shocking turn. Her mother? And Mike? She pressed closer to the glass, straining to hear every word. Sarah reached out, her hand covering Mike's. Her touch was electric. I like you too, Mike. More than I should. Chloe felt a wave of nausea wash over her. The swing creaked again, a mournful sound in the gathering darkness. A new family dynamic. Chloe slammed the door, the sound echoing through the usually quiet house. So, this is it, huh? She spat, her voice shaking. Sarah winced, but stood her ground next to Mike. An explanation would be nice. Chloe, honey, Sarah began, but Chloe cut her off. Don't honey me. You're my mom, and he's supposed to be fixing the sink, not. She couldn't finish the sentence, the betrayal too raw. Mike stepped forward, his face etched with sincerity. Chloe, I never wanted to hurt you. Your mom, we connected. It just happened. It doesn't change how I feel about you. You're amazing. Chloe stared at him, tears welling. Amazing enough to date my mom? She turned and ran to her room. Months later, the tension had eased, those scars remained. The three of them were in the backyard, Mike hammering away at a new deck he was building. Chloe was helping Sarah weed the garden, their conversation punctuated by Mike's hammering. Laughter drifted through the air as Mike recounted a plumbing mishap from the previous week, Sarah teasing him relentlessly. Chloe even cracked a smile. The air still vibrated with unspoken things, but it was different now. The animosity had softened into something resembling acceptance. Mike was part of their lives. He was helping around the house, making them laugh. A family, albeit an unconventional one, was forming, built on a foundation of complicated love and unexpected turns.